Hour 2 Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Doug, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan, role play level of concern later in the hour. Darko Rajakovic coming up here in just a moment as well. The Raptors, they were at Sick Kids today, and there was a really big announcement, really cool initiative that Darko and his wife announced today that we'll get into. We'll ask Darko about that, how he's transitioning to the city. Now he's been here for a few months. I'm sure he's loving the weather like we are, and there's a number of things to get into with the head coach of the Raptors. So Darko's coming up here in a few moments. The Leafs are in action again tonight, playing the Winnipeg Jets, so we'll continue to tee that up. Obviously, the reporting of the Globe and Mail this morning, an incredibly significant report that 5 players from Canada's 2018 World Junior team have been directed to report to police in London to face charges of sexual assault. That's, again, according to the Globe and Mail. My understanding is the London police issued a statement saying that they are going to have a press conference, I believe, is that February 5th, Doogie, I believe it was? In February anyway. It's still a couple of weeks away. So if you're looking for more reporting on that, we don't have it. We're not in a position to talk openly about an investigation.
Nor are we going to make assumptions because we're not in that game and we're not doing it. We can't do it.
So, track the story, of course, on tsn.ca. I'm sure our own Rick Westhead will continue to have reporting on it as we move forward here. And if and when there's more developments and more news to be discussed and reported on, then we will absolutely do that. Again, I urge people to track all of this on tsn.ca and SportsCenter and other areas. So, with the Leafs and Jets playing tonight, our friend Sarah Oleski's coming up. We haven't had Sarah on in a while. And I'm guessing Sarah's in pretty good spirits considering what's going on with the Jets. The Blue Bombers are always an awesome team. So we'll catch up with Sarah in about 90 minutes. Darren Dreger coming up in about an hour. But, Darko will join us here in a moment. Lots of things to get into with him. I mean, being a head coach in this town, you consider, like, how young these guys are, too. Like, Darko's young. John Schneider's still young. Sheldon Keefes is, 43?
We got to ask him about his hair because everyone says watch the coach's hair because they get hired or it's like stressful job. Coach, president, anything. It's like jet black and then gray. Look at Sheldon Keefes here. The day he got hired, I think it was in Arizona or Vegas, his first game. Might have been Arizona.
Arizona was.
Glorious dark hair.
He looked
glorious dark brown hair. A year and a half later, it was white.
Yeah.
That's what players do to coaches. That's really what it is. I'm telling you, I was standing in the hallway one time. Jason Smith, the former gritty defenseman who played in Edmonton, played in Ottawa, I'd seen him like 6 months prior, and then I saw him like coaching, and I said, "What's going on?" He's like, "Dude, look at my hair. It's gray." Like he's the one who pointed it out. He's like, "Look at this salad. It's gray. It's stress. That's what it is." It was pretty funny. Like, and I don't disagree. These guys live it. They breathe it. They wear it. Is that day one? There, that picture.
That's him.
That's like, day one.
He looks like he is ready to rock. Like the hair is in good shape.
All business.
He's all business. He's got his A suit on that Sheldon Keefe up on TSN4. He's got his go-to blue tie. That might have been the tie he won.
190.
Yeah, he looks like he's in game shape. He's ready to rock. Sheldon is. And you get through a few years, a few playoff runs, some stressful scenarios, and all of a sudden it's a very different situation.
Yeah, it is. But all coaches go through that, not just in hockey. Like we should ask Darko how he feels about, going through, like, this is kind of, would you call it the honeymoon phase for him? It's his first year.
Yeah, of course.
And not a lot of high expectations. Obviously, with the trade now with Pascal, like the team is where they are. Scottie's pushing through. Like there's some real nice storylines, but I don't know. What is the expectation for this group right now? Compete, get better, and try and make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like the play-in, I think, is something they should still be reaching for. They're on the outside looking in. I think it's going to be difficult for them to do that. But you have a lot of season left, right? Like they're 2.5 games out of 10th in the East. Like if you've played, you still have almost 40 games left to play, 38, 40 games left. You got to be still having goals, and I'm sure they do. And the idea of, the playoffs expanding, the last couple of years and pushing it from the top 8 teams to the top 10, and you might have a chance to play a play-in scenario. We saw what Miami did last year. They had to play their way in, and look how far they took that. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's punting on anything, nor should they. But, it's tough. They've lost some good players. They moved off some good players. They're a very young team. Schedule doesn't get any easier. You got the Clippers in town on Friday night. So let's get right to the man we're talking about. Here he is, joining us on the Maple Twitter hotline, the head coach of the Raptors, Darko Rajakovic. How you doing, Darko?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're doing very well. We're just talking about the stress that comes with being a head coach and how your hair starts to gray quickly, and it really is uncomfortable. Have you noticed that? I mean, it's still early into your tenure as a head coach in the NBA, but is it as stressful as I'm sure a lot of your friends suggested it would be?
I was a head coach for 17 years before becoming assistant coach, and I'll tell you what, my father got his first gray hair when he was 55. I started getting mine in early 30s, so yes, it comes with the territory for sure.
Yeah. Darko, how do you manage you seem like you're really positive, you've got a lot of energy, and when things are going tough and the wins aren't coming, how do you balance that where you still have to come to the building with energy and be positive and yet let everyone know that what they're doing has to be better at the same time?
There is a fine balance between positive and at the same time being serious about the job that we have ahead. And for me, everything starts with a big picture, and that's understanding where we're at as a team right now and where we need to go and what we need to do to build this team and build a culture and build our young core of the players. So everything starts with that, and obviously we want to be competitive in every single night, every single game, and that's why I told players today in a meeting, like, I really believe that every night when we play against any team in NBA that we have a chance. And that's all you can ask for in this situation, Last couple of games we were playing, I was counting, we were playing with 5 new players that did not play at all this year. Ted Young did not play at all. He's now getting significant minutes, and Jonte Porter, who's on a two-way, and obviously addition of Bruce Brown and Emmanuel Quickly and R.J. Barrett. Obviously, a couple of good players and young players and talented players, but it really feels like we are at the start of the season and starting kind of everything from scratch. Today was the first day that we were able to do a shell defense and to introduce guys to terminology and what that means and where they need to be on the floor and how we want to play on offense. It's a training camp all over.
Well, it's got to be difficult, too, considering the grind of the NBA, where you play so many games, and it's every other night, and you just were on a West Coast road trip where you're playing a lot, and there's a lot of travel. Like how you mentioned you got a chance to actually practice, and you have a little bit of a break here. You don't play again until Friday at home. Like, how rare is it during an NBA season to actually feel like you can work on stuff in practice?
It is very rare, and to be honest with you, I have a folder on my computer that just like practice days, preparing for practices, and every time when I go to that folder, when I look at the last practice that we had, it was like, oh, it was 2 weeks ago last practice. Oh, it was 10 days last practice. It's everything is between the games and just shoot around or individual days. It is really hard. We're trying to manage workload for players that play heavy minutes, and then at the same time, guys that are playing less minutes, we're trying to get extra work with them through play groups and additional work. But that's the grind that the NBA brings, and we signed up for it, so we got to live for it.
What do you make of Scottie Barnes' progression and his growth as a player and, seeing him every day? And what do you like about him? And is there still some details that you'd like to round out in his game?
I believe that Scottie is doing a really good job this year. Obviously, with all the trades that happened, it's opening up more room, more touches for him. We're looking at him from different perspective. I really like when Scottie has the ball in his hands to create for himself and for the team. I really like his post-up game. I thought that game against Miami down the stretch that he did a really good job managing the team and finding open guys and scoring on opportunities that he had. It's at the same time he's learning how to play with new players, and they're learning how to play off of him. We're trying to team up in our individual days or pre-practices to team up quickly and Scottie together, RJ and Scottie together, so they can talk about certain actions and situations and how they can play off of each other and learn each other much faster. We're trying to learn on the fly over here, really.
With Darko Rajakovic, I think it's safe to assume that you'd like to see Scottie get some more calls, considering that Lakers game and what you had to say after the game. We discussed that rant.
At length.
We talked about it a lot. We played it a lot. You got fined for the first time as the head coach of the Raptors. Do you look back? How do you look back on that now? Because you had a lot of support by Raptor fans. A lot of people in the media loved what you had to say. And the stats, they spoke for themselves. It was outrageous how many calls were going in the direction of the Lakers. I'm not asking you to get fined again, Darko, but take us back there and why you were so heated and why you felt so adamant to say what you said.
Well, Scottie is a star in creation right now. I really believe that he's going to be an all-star. I really believe that he's going to be one of the best players in this league, and he's definitely a cornerstone of our organization and what we want to build around. And I understand that referees are going to look at him as a young player, which is fine. But at the same time, I don't want to go back there. All I wanted is to protect him and protect our team and move on. That's behind us, and we just got to focus on the next game and on next opponent and to continue helping Scottie and the team to grow in any possible way.
Well, and obviously you're going to rely on his teammates to do that. And I think a lot of Raptor fans are wondering how this is going to play out now that, Pascal's not here, now that OG Anunoby's not here, obviously with Jakob Poeltl being injured, your front court is really being challenged here. You've had Scottie playing, minutes at the 4. I'm sure he's played minutes at the 5. Not that he's not familiar with doing that in the past, but the challenge of not having Siakam here, not having Anunoby here, Poeltl being out, how challenging has that been over the last week and a half?
It is challenging, but I think it's a positive challenge in so many ways. This is just the start of a new era of the team, and that's how we need to look at it. And it's going to take time for players to figure out and for us as an organization to figure out how to build this team. I have complete trust and great communication with Masai and with Bobby, and I have full support for everything that they are doing with the team. They know the best what this team needs. So we will need time to figure out the roster, time to figure out lineups that we have out there, time to figure out how to play off of each other. But I think we have a very, very exciting times ahead of us, and we're in the creation of something really special over here in Toronto.
Well, you guys obviously were a part of something that's really special in the city and a tradition with the Raptors. You guys visited the Hospital for Sick Children today, Variety Village as well, and a really, really cool initiative was announced between yourself, your wife. You announced today that you'll be donating to sick kids, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and to a children's hospital in Belgrade. A contribution of $20 U.S. will be made for every assist recorded by the Raptors, retroactive to the start of the year. And the final amount will be distributed to all 3 hospitals at season's end. I think that's incredibly gracious. I think that's a really, really cool idea. And I'm curious how you came about this, Darko, and why you feel like this is something that's important to do.
Well, me and my wife Gaga, we are parents. We have a 6-year-old son, and when you have children, you definitely look different with the different lenses at life and what's really important. And when we lived in Memphis, we really had a great opportunity to connect with people at St. Jude's Hospital, and to learn about their mission and what they do and how they're helping kids and their families and all of that doing for free of charge. And when I learned that all of those contributions are really coming from donations and regular people like you and me, that's when I realized that we need to do about that and say something and really try to help as much as we can, but also to inspire other people to help as much as they can, because this is such a noble cause what people at Sick Kids Hospital over here in Toronto are doing, and at St. Jude as well, and worldwide. We gotta really take care of the future, and future of all of us is our kids.
Well, I think that's really well put. I mean, Sick Kids, you've been in the city now for a number of months, but Sick Kids is, it's a pride and joy of this city in terms of how important that hospital it is, the amazing work that it does. And we've had you on a couple of times when you got hired earlier in the season. Now you've been here for a while. You're experiencing winter up here for the first time. There's no sun ever. I'm curious how your transition to the city is, how it is to be a Torontonian in the middle of winter. What's that like for you, Darko?
It's really nice. I actually like it much better when we actually have snow because everything looks a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
I love the city. I love the people over here. My wife yesterday, she got me outside to help neighbors to shovel some snow in front of their houses. So it's been community over here is just great. So I'm really enjoying everything connected with the team and basketball, but also outside of basketball.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Best of luck moving forward. You're still got the deadline right around the corner. I'm sure that adds to the stress. Probably some of the guys around the team. Like, I'm curious how you handle that, Darko. I guess before we get you out of here, do you address it before the deadline that there's a chance more guys are going to be moved and it's a pretty anxious time in the NBA.
Well, that's out of the control of the players or myself. I'm just trying to keep focus of everybody on today, what we can do better in the practice, what we can do in preparation for the next game. What's out of our control, it's out of our control, so, and, the less players and everybody's, following social media and being, involved in all of that, it brings the peace, to them, because all the rumors and everything, you just never know if anything is ever going to happen, So focusing on today is the most important thing.
Well, we wish you all the success moving forward Friday night with the Clippers in town and beyond that, and I'm sure we'll catch up again down the road. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much, guys.
You got it. Darko Rajakovic, again, they've already racked up $26,000 in donations based on assists, and I guess JP said they're on pace for about $48,500 that'll be spread out through 3 children's hospitals. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a really cool initiative. That's really, really cool of him to do that, he and his wife, and I love that he's getting out there helping people shovel.
Yeah, that's not a fun thing.
That's a one-time deal. Yeah. I'm a great guy. I'm a great neighbor. The next time, it's like, don't even think about it.
Exactly.
I got a plow coming for mine.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll never see me come outside.
Yeah. And this snow wasn't even that crazy. Like, there's a big one coming. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's coming. Like, it's just a matter of...
There's usually a monster sometime in Feb.
Yes.
Where it's like, it caves you in, and you gotta dig out there.
Yeah.
It is.
That's happening.
I'm not looking forward to that. Because it makes travel, all hell breaks loose. Airports, people are crabby. Like,
absolutely.
It's a mess.
Nothing you can do about it. So we appreciate Darko. And again, that's a really, really cool initiative. And as always, we want to remind people today is Bell Let's Talk Day. The 2024 Bell Let's Talk Day campaign highlights mental health statistics that show why real change is needed. We can all join in and help create real change in mental health at home, at school, or work, and in our communities. And by doing something to support your own mental health or the mental health of someone you know. Together, let's create real change in mental health in Canada. For ideas on how you can take action on Bell Let's Talk Day, and every day for that matter, visit bell.ca/let's talk. Darren Dreger still to come. Sarah Orlesky coming up. Leafs Jets tonight. Role play level of concern next.
You can never ask me to stop drinking. Do you understand?
I do. I really do.
One bourbon, one scotch, one beer.
All right, here we go. Role play level of concern. Always one of our favorite bits. We haven't done role play in a while. Sorry, I was looking for a read.
I knew you were looking for something.
I have a million papers here, and I'm like, I swear there's a read. I don't know where it is. I don't know. What are you going to do? It's all good. All right, you guys want to get to role play level of concern?
Fire it up here. Let's do
You
it.
know how this works, right? Everyone, we're assigned different people or different teams or different fan bases, and then a situation is applied to it, and we go around the table. It's either pint on the patio, which is no concern, Nick Cage in Vegas, and then everything in between. All right? Oh, you're playing the role of Connor Bedard. I don't know if you've noticed recently, like Peter Mrazek got a 2-year extension at big money. Nick Foligno got a 2-year extension at big money. What is your level of concern that the Chicago Blackhawks are going to be awful for at least 2 more years?
A pint on the patio.
Really?
A pint on the patio, and I will explain why. They know they have the golden nugget in myself, Connor Bedard. And they know that they have to be active as teams looking to win a championship to push this thing forward as opposed to being brutal. Once you get the guy, you got to put good players around him. Like, the joke's over as far. I'm not saying go as far as Dorian and saying the rebuild's over, but you can't have this guy because you know what these guys are like now. Maybe in 2 years, if they stink the joint out, his 3 years there, he's like, I just don't know if I want to re-sign here. They gotta get.
I think you're crazy to be a pint on the patio. I mean, why would they give Nick Foligno 2 more years at 4 something and Peter Mrazek got 4.25? Peter Mrazek.
Dude, they can't put the lawyer a couple years ago that played a game back into the net. They got to put somebody in net.
Exactly, but that's my point. Then give him a 1-year deal. I'm Nick Cage on this. I could not be any different than you. I think Chicago's telling you we are going to be horrendous for 2 years, and we want good guys in the room. I love Nick Foligno. Everyone does. Nick Foligno getting 2 years at over 4. I mean, wow. Like based on how he's going to play and how he's going to contribute. Peter Mrazek, I don't know. I'm shocked by that deal.
You know what? They have to spend the money.
What are you so bent out of shape about Peter Mrazek?
He's so mad about Mrazek.
Peter Mrazek. Did you see him play in Toronto? Have you? I know he's been a bit better in Chicago, but come on,
dude. But don't you think there's some urgency, guys, with Bedard? There's some urgency there to get better.
I think there should be, but I don't think there are. Go ahead, Noodles. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. This is hypothetical. Right now, would you take? It doesn't matter contract status, whatever. If they were making the same money, would you take Mrazek or Samsonov?
Samsonov.
No, you're a damn liar. You're a damn liar. You're a damn liar for saying that because you know what Samsonov has been doing the last 2 weeks.
I know, but I also saw Mrazek in a Leaf jersey, and it was worse than what Samsonov was doing.
No,
it was probably worse.
You fire that one on Twitter, majority you'll say pint in the patio.
No.
They got good players. They got Bedard.
They're brutal. They're terrible.
Dude. I was shocked
about mix it up. All you want to do is play the
honest.
Nick Cage song.
Well, I'll be honest though. I didn't think you were going to be pint on the patio. If you were going to, I thought you were going to be.
I just have
Rick
belief
Bushwood.
in Bedard and belief they understand what Bedard is and represents, and that you can't be garbage with him moving forward. You might not be that good, but you can't be garbage. That's what the confirm or deny was. They're not going to be garbage. They've got to get better.
Well, and keep in mind here, too, the cap is going up and they got to get to the floor. So they're going to have to spend money. And if the 2 guys that you just laid out, Hayes, that's not the spine of the team. These are going to be players that they want around for the next couple of years, but they better spend the rest of that money on players to help Connor Bedard. So I am Rick Bushwood, and I'm not supposed to weigh in, but I'm Rick Bushwood because they got to spend the rest of that money on guys to help that team get better.
Okay. All right, Noodles, you're playing the role of the 92-93 Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yes.
What is your level of concern that the Edmonton Oilers will surpass your record of 17 consecutive wins?
So they got Chicago tomorrow and Nashville this weekend, right?
Feels like 2 W's.
So that puts that potentially. And now again, I thought they almost burped one up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They woke up in the third and got it, but. Chicago could have a game. Mrazek could have the game of his life and steal it. UC Saros could do that.
Yeah.
Your guys. My question is, and I don't know if you have it in front of you, what is Game 17? Who did they play in Game 17?
I should probably know that.
Because that might give me not a Nick Cage, but it might give me Rick Bushwood or a pint on the patio.
I will tell you right now, it's Chicago Thursday, Nashville Saturday, at the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday. But let me add to that. If they get that win, that's 17, the next time they play is at Anaheim to break the record. At Anaheim to break the record.
You're seeing a pathway. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
beat up
I'm
Vegas
seeing
team.
A very clear pathway.
You're seeing Chicago, Anaheim.
I'd be nervous if I was the 92-93 Pens.
Okay, so give me a Rick Bushwood then, please.
6 Busch Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall boys.
Just on the pathway, but as we know, these streaks get broken by unsuspecting people, and it might be Mrazek and his new contract. It might be, Luke Evangelista gets a hat trick for Nashville, something like that. Like it could be that. That's what I'm looking at, but I think they should be a bit worried because the Oilers are rolling.
They certainly are. All right, I'm playing the role of Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy. What is my level of concern that if I don't get it done this weekend, I will forever be labeled Mr. Irrelevant? I'm low on this because you know what I'm going to.
You're a joke. That is
I'm going to say
Cage,
no. This is a pint on the patio.
Doogie,
here's
and
a pint
JP,
on the patio.
Play it before he answers for me.
No, you can't.
Play it
you can't
for me.
play. You're not Brock Purdy. I'm Brock Purdy.
You can never ask me to stop drinking.
That is a Nick Cage.
No, it's not. It's a pint on the patio, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, if he tanks it this weekend, let me hear what he's going to be.
Guess what? People have made up their mind already. I'm Mr. Irrelevant even if I win this weekend, win the Super Bowl, win Super Bowl MVP. People have decided I can't throw. I'm not good enough. I just, Shanahan's puppet. It's all CMC. It's all Kittle. And, Debo's not playing, so that means we can't win. Listen, I love Deebo Samuel. The idea that the quarterback's healthy and everyone else is healthy and you're worried you can't beat Detroit at home because of Deebo, that's a shot at Brock Purdy, and that's exactly what I'm saying. It's forget Mr. Irrelevant. Whatever I do is irrelevant in the eyes of a lot of people, a lot of ignorant people, may I point out. So I'm not worried about it. I've been an underdog my whole life. No one wants me here. A lot of people are like, you can't win with me. You can't win with Brock Purdy. So whatever happens this weekend is not going to change the minds of a lot of people. Even if Brock Purdy goes out there and scores 4 touchdowns, 400 yards, perfect quarterback rating, people will still say, he stinks. It's because of the offensive line. They got Trent Williams blocking for him, and it's. Right. I don't think he should have any concern at all about how people feel about him, because in a lot of ways it's already been established for a lot of people. All right, you are playing the role of Nick Dunlap, your boy Nick Dunlap, the Alabama Crimson Tide. What is your level of concern that for those of you not familiar, I guess I have to reset this because not everyone knows who this guy is. He's the amateur that just won the Amex.
Yes.
Yeah, he just won the first amateur to win a tournament since Phil Mickelson in the early 90s. And he's 20 years old. I think the youngest guy to win on tour in forever. You are Nick Dunlap. What is your level of concern? You've set the bar so high that if you don't become a top 10 player in the world, it will be considered an underwhelming career.
Pint on the patio, and I'll tell you why.
Ooh.
I shot 59 when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
59.
59. Money off people.
I was taking money off of
you read that piece too. It's your life, actually. Now that I think about it.
55-year-old drunk guys on the course. I was taking all their money, and I shot 59 when I was 12. I just beat everyone. As a sophomore in college, I'm a bona fide stud, and I'm just going to be like every other one of these young hotshots that come out. They're better than everyone else, and that's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's a freak, and you even called him a competitive freak.
He is a competitive freak. I think that was.
There is a pint on the patio concern. I think every once in a while you get a slam dunk that's like, watch out for this guy. I'm pretty confident that this guy's won.
I agree. He looks like Scheffler. He's 6'2", crushes the ball.
He is going to be the next Scottie Scheffler. Did you see how many times coming down the stretch, like driver holes, he was the last guy to hit? Playing with Sam Burns and Justin Thomas.
Right.
Those guys can move the rock, and this guy was hitting last.
That was it, man. Like, I was trying to read up on him because no one has heard of him. Like, obviously, if you're a collegiate golf fan, but who is? Like, who's tracking the collegiate?
Bob Weeks.
Bobby Weeks would know, exactly. But I had never heard of him. And so in doing so, I was reading from people in the golf world. They were like, there are phenoms coming that you're not aware of yet, but that have access to TrackMan, have access to all the analytics, that have access to the most incredible technology, that are in the gym like Tiger was. Like, we've already seen that wave with, like, the DJs and the Koepkas and the Schefflers and all that. There's another one coming that's even crazier because these guys are so dialed in because of the technology. Like, they know exactly the spin rate. They know exactly.
They're robots, man.
Like, they're robots on the course. And and Dunlap's probably going to lead that charge, but there's other kids coming too that are just, and that's why Liv can't compete with the PGA Tour, because these kids are going to go play for the PGA Tour, and the PGA Tour just makes stars of them. Like, this is dead true. I would rather watch Nick Dunlap play a PGA Tour event right now than John Rahm play his first Liv event.
No kidding.
That's
Me
a
too.
fact.
I can't watch 1 second. And I will tell you one thing, Hazy. I don't know if you recall this, but I predicted an Am winning relatively soon. Don't ever give me that face. I predicted,
I've never heard that name before.
I didn't predict Dunlap, but I said an Am was going to win, and I think in the next 5 years an Am's going to win a major because they're that good coming out of college.
Really?
I said it. I'll dig up the tape.
Ted Cruz.
I don't think you're.
That is such a lie.
JP, do you recall me saying that in the last 2 to 3 years, JP?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Of course
I've
not.
never heard the word like, an amateur's going to win.
That's the third time in 6 months you've sewered me, JP, and you know I said it. I know I've said it.
Sure,
someone tweet me in the clip.
Yeah, someone find that clip that allegedly exists that you called Nick Dunlap winning the Amex.
Dude, I didn't call Nick Dunlap. I said these AMs are so good, they're going to win soon, and it wouldn't shock me if it's a major.
Well, it did happen. I mean, a major, this guy will be at Augusta. Like, Dunlap's going to be there. He's playing the He's not going to win the Masters. Like, showing up your first time at Augusta.
Dude, I just cannot believe that money's not in trust, and then he turns pro and he gets it. That's a joke.
It's sickening. Again, the
Change
caddy.
that rule.
The caddy is what sickens me. Like, Amex or someone should go to that caddy and say, you're getting 10% on 1.5. Like, here's $150,000.
That guy got 24 Busch Lights and it threw it in the back of his car and drove to Alabama.
Honestly, and probably a call from Nick Saban. That's it. Hey, I can get Nick Saban to call you if you want. Sure, that'd be great. I'd also appreciate $150,000, but whatever.
I'd like to get him some money.
Hook up the caddy. Think like Dunlap will be fine. You know, he's already making scratch. He's got the NL. He's an Adidas guy and a TaylorMade guy. He's playing the QI10, crushing the QI10 all over the MX. All right, News, you're playing the role of Joseph Wall. Yes. Joseph Wall, who I guess is skating and is, around the team, but not officially back, and we're not sure when he's going to return. A lot of concern, though, and a lot of conversation revolving around this position in Toronto. What is your level of concern? The pressure is on you to be the number one starter and carry this team into the playoffs.
I mean, I would say play it, but I think he's pretty calm and cool, but I'm going to go Rick Bushwood.
6 Busch Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall boys.
There's a lot of pressure on him because right now, if Brad Treliving decides to use his currency and the cap space and all of that and keeps the 3 goaltenders intact, so he doesn't move Samsonov or, Jones, and these 3 are the goaltenders after the trade deadline, I think they believe the most upside is on Wall. Jones has been very stable, and I think Samsonov has been hot and cold. Now, we'll see if Samsonov can get on a stretch here or something. But there's a lot of pressure. And as you know, expectation in this market, if you're the guy, it doesn't matter the age. You don't put your age or your birth certificate on the jersey. You got to go out and stop pucks. So,
absolutely.
I'm high on this. That's why I went Bushwood.
Yeah. It is going to be asking a lot for a young guy, a rookie coming off a pretty significant injury.
And it's not like Stuart Skinner played 50 games last year or 55 games. Like, he hasn't been afforded that because of this injury. Mm-hmm. Like, what is Joseph Wall going to get to, even if he settles back in after the injury? Can he get to 40 games? Can he get to 35?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's not. That's not a ton of experience coming off a handful of games last year. Like it's, that's the biggest challenge for him is, the injury bugs hit him, and he's got to get experience here.
Absolutely. I think that's appropriate. All right, I'm playing the role of NHL hockey fans. What is my level of concern that expansion will water down the league and worsen the product?
You can never, ever ask me to stop drinking.
So this comes on the heels of Salt Lake City trying to get in the game, right? And
where'd they come from? Where does all of a sudden just some guy in Salt Lake wants a team?
Yeah, the owner of the Jazz. He's worth a fortune. He wants to get them there. I'm surprised, but I don't have anything against Salt Lake. I don't need to add them to the list of cities that
you'll have some.
I lived there.
Yeah.
I lived there. I played for the Salt Lake City Golden Eagles. That's where Eddie Vedder wouldn't allow us to walk by his dressing room.
Right.
I give them 2 months in the league, and you will hate Salt Lake City's guts.
Yeah.
And you'll say they don't deserve a team. They stink, and I hate Salt Lake City.
Listen, it's for me, it's strange. Like Houston's out there. I think Atlanta's going to get in there. They're going to expand. This kind of stuff They wouldn't go public with this unless Bettman said you can go public with it.
There's a plan with this,
of course. Yeah. The way that the league operates, the league freaks when you do something publicly that they're not aware of or they don't sign off on. So I get the impression it's moving in this direction. And if they go to 33 teams, they're probably going to go to 34. Atlanta, it feels like they're going to get their third chance. But I think the league is already watered down to begin with. I think the goaltending position in particular, it's really tough to find 64 good goalies that can fill out 32 rosters.
There's only 8.
Exactly. And now you're going to add another 2 or 4 on top of that. What's the third pairing going to look like on the 34th place team in the league?
They're behind the glass in that building right now. That's your third pairing D behind the glass in that studio right now.
Exactly.
JP and Doogie. D to D up to the strong side.
Yeah, D to D passes and, just getting hemmed in. And
Not the best.
I think it's greed, obviously, because they're going to get a lot of money up front from these prospective owners.
Yeah.
It's a gate-driven league, and I understand that. So what's going to happen is they're going to sell 1 million tickets the first few years, and it's going to look great. But I'm telling you, Vegas has been amazing. A time will come where Vegas is the worst team in the league for years. Then we'll see what they're really made of. Same thing with Seattle. Vegas got hooked up beautifully. Salt Lake will. The other team will. The expansion rules, that's another thing. It sucks. If you're a Leaf fan, you're like, all right, now it's even more difficult to win a Stanley Cup.
Dude, those Vegas fans will be like, what the hell is this?
That's what I'm saying. Like, brace for it, because it's going to happen. Like, if you're going to be around for decades, sports is cyclical. They went to a Cup final their first year. They've been to 2 Cup finals already. They've already won one. This year, they're a great team again, and they're going to be in contention to win. Within the next 10 to 15 years, they will bottom out and be awful. Awful. Yeah. Then we'll see what that market is made of, right? Same thing with Seattle. Same thing with these other markets. I think they're biting off way more than they can chew. I don't think there's enough talent.
The only thing that I struggle with like Vegas is Vegas. Like Salt Lake is not Vegas. Like people don't jump on a plane and go, we're going to Salt Lake. Like we got to you go skiing. I lived there. Believe me.
Look at you. You're playing the role of Bryan Hayes right now. I don't have to say a word. You just flagging Salt Lake City.
The Green Parrot Bar was the only thing that was good. It closed at 1:00 because it's a very religious city. It was. I'm telling you, that city was.
Yeah.
There was a guy named Larry Miller. I think that was his name. He owned the whole city. I think he owned the Jazz. Like he owned. It was just a. It was a weird vibe there. A lot of nice people. I enjoyed myself.
No one cares about what people in Salt Lake feel.
Was that AI?
I don't know. How did you do that so quickly?
That is unbelievable.
Play that again. Hold on. No one cares about what people in Salt Lake feel. Yeah, fine. Put me down. I'll start a war with Salt Lake City. They're not even in the league yet.
Things have better changed if there was only one bar that stayed open till 1:00. If you want to have
and you had to buy back then. It was like a hidden cover charge. You had to buy a membership to the bar to get in. So it's like $5 to buy a membership, and they get in. And I'm not lying. You'd have a half a beer left at like 5-1. They're like, "Get the hell out of here!" Didn't matter. Like, oh, we play for the Golden Eagles. They're like, "Okay, who's that? Get out of here!"
Right.
Like it was. That's a very, very unique
horse and buggy to get home.
It was gritty there.
Yeah. Hey, welcome aboard. It sounds like it's moving in that direction. I don't know.
But my point is, Atlanta's a bigger city. It's a metropolis. I think Houston would be you're looking. Those cities would be able to house it. Salt Lake is just kind of a that screams more like Arizona.
Atlanta a third time seems so insane.
That's crazy.
To me. I'm sorry.
It's crazy.
Seems insane.
But again, I understand why they're bullish now. I get it why the league is proud of what's happened in Vegas, in Seattle, and it's a completely different way of operating. It's not an expansion team like it used to be. They set you up for success immediately. Seattle made the playoffs in their second year. Vegas has been a rock star. They're a juggernaut in the NHL. So I'm sure the plan is, and they believe it will play out the same way. Salt Lake, Atlanta, Houston, give them a chance early. But again, it's at some point, one of these new teams is also going to fail that process. They're going to get it wrong, and it's not going to be that great. And at some point, these teams are going to be challenged, and the markets are going to be challenged when they're officially a part of the league for 10 years, 15, 20 years, and they're not that good. And again, this is going to sound like a homer thing, but if you're one of the 7 Canadian teams, they haven't won a cup in 30 years. Now the probability of winning it is even more difficult. Philly hasn't won a cup in, 50 years? The Islanders, 40. The Rangers, 30 years. These are great hockey markets. And now it's like, now we're going to make sure Salt Lake is in a better place.
Joe from the Bridge is reporting that possibly the Coyotes relocating to Salt Lake. That's from Joe from the Bridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Joe from the Bridge.
And I also like to thank the Grappler for being truthful and texting everyone saying, I remember O-Dog saying that about an amateur winning. I remember it because I thought it was a bad take. Thank you, Grappler.
I don't remember that at all, but the Grappler, I guess he is claiming that he does remember you saying that. If you said that, that's one of the all-time great takes.
Yes, and the Grappler's in senior management now. He knows what he's doing.
I don't think you said it. Not while I was on the show. I
don't recall something like that.
So both of you guys have no recollection.
I have no recollection. Again, my head would have popped off if I heard you make that take. And yes, you're right. The Grappler, he's a suit now, right? So he's trying to keep his integrity and his honor intact. So I guess it's possible. But I love how we're referencing Joe from the Bridge.
Yeah,
as if that's like a reliable source.
I'm just going off the text chain.
Okay.
Joe from the Bridge came off the top turnbuckle and said, possible relocation for the Yotes.
Great.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. We'll associate that with our show now.
And we'll see you on Insider Trading later this week.
I look forward to that. No one cares about what people in Salt Lake feel. All right. All right. Role play level of concern brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. This January at Boston Pizza, get delicious mouthwatering pasta starting at $11.99 every single day. Enjoy the pastas you love at prices you just can't miss. Hustle into your local BP tonight. All right. Darren Dreger in about 15 minutes. Sarah Orlesky coming up, too. Leafs Jets tonight, Leafs Jets Saturday. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
JP, a man of dignity, just apologized.
Who did?
Because he knows that he screwed that one up. And he knows that I made the comment about an amateur winning on tour.
Oh, really?
Thank you, JP, for being a man of integrity.
Is that right, JP?
And as someone says, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, how about that? So I guess the money was deposited right into your account, JP, and now all of a sudden you're on the take, just like everyone else. Why all of a sudden would you have to apologize to this guy?
JP, you just apologized and you were just being straight up because you got that one wrong, correct?
Correct. I thought he did not say it. And if Grappler has information that he did, I thought it was important to apologize.
You're going to believe the Grappler?
Yeah, I think.
Have you met the Grappler?
As if the Grappler,
Mr. Grappler is my boss. So
well, don't worry about that. We'll take care of it. Please.
As if he would come over the top and make up that story to benefit me. He doesn't do those types of things. He, as well, is a man of integrity. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, fine. All right, there you go. You called it.
Yeah.
What else did you call? Let me see.
I don't think
what else
so.
can we create in the past, Noodles?
I think it's just made up stuff.
That
like
Seattle's getting the team. Didn't you call that? Or not Seattle, Salt Lake City.
But isn't that sickening, guys? Like Quebec City's just sitting there. It's like, why do they keep getting bypassed? Does Jerry just say, screw Canada? It's not happening. They're
not even on the radar. It's a great point with Salt Lake City. Right? Like I'll grant you Atlanta's a big metropolis. Houston, I think, is the third or fourth largest city in the U.S. based on population. It's a massive place. Salt Lake City? Like, how is that any different than Quebec City? How is that any different than two teams in Toronto?
It's not.
It's not. Like, Hamilton is probably more populated than Salt Lake City. Mississauga most certainly would be.
It's not even, for me, it's not about population. It's about, like, the fit. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's a fit. They had a hockey team there, and yes, it was a million years ago in the early 90s in the IHL, which isn't even a league anymore. Mm-hmm. But it's still like, I just, that's such a unique choice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it. Quebec City, like, that's a hockey town. Like, I played in the NHL against the Quebec Nordiques. It was unbelievable.
Yep.
They deserve a team. It's ridiculous that they don't have one.
It doesn't seem like they're even on the radar. TSN 1050's Leafs lineup, your chance to win Leaf tickets every week all season long. Every weekday we announce a current or former Maple Leaf player. And on Fridays, you have a chance to call in and name the Leafs lineup of the week. This week, we're giving away tickets to see the Leafs Stars February 7th, and we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card with each pair of tickets to make it the ultimate game night. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro-Canada. Today's player of the day is Rob Ramage. Rob Ramage is your player of the day. All right, final hour coming up. Darren Dreger will join us. Sarah Orlesky will join us. Leafs Jets tonight. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.